Joining us now, Barbara McQuade, a former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. And Barbara has just published a piece on this. Barbara, good to see you again. The filing today is highly critical of the Justice Department. The retired judge, Gleeson, accuses the Department of Justice of a gross abuse of prosecutorial power and essentially accusing the department of dropping its investigation into Flynn because Flynn is tied to the president. What's your takeaway?
Yeah, well, first, I thought you did an excellent rendition on reading court documents. But beside that, I thought one of the things that's so remarkable about this pleading today isn't just that he dismantles the arguments of the Department of Justice as pretextual, going through their arguments that the charge was no good and it was weak and they couldn't prove it. I mean, he goes through all of that, which I fully expected. The part I didn't expect is the second argument, where he argues why the Department of Justice is doing this. And he says it is all about protecting President Trump, that Flynn was his close advisor, that he was, at the time he was talking with the Russian ambassador, he was also consulting in real time with members of the Trump transition team who were down at Mar-a-Lago and going back and forth to say, what should I say to the ambassador? That President Trump asked Jim Comey to let this go with Michael Flynn, and that he's tweeted more than 100 times. It is quite clear that this is all about President Trump's agenda to end this case. As you said, it's about doing a favor for a political ally of the president. It's an abuse of power, and it is preposterous that these arguments have any legal merit.
There's something you wrote today that caught me, because while we're all talking about wrongdoing and right doing and motivations for this whole thing, key to this whole thing, and I'm quoting from you, Flynn, who was serving in the sensitive position of National Security Advisor, quote, according to the filing today, repeatedly lied about the nature and extent of his communications with a senior official of a hostile foreign power that was being sanctioned by the U.S. government for interfering with the U.S. presidential election, end quote. These lies certainly had a tendency to influence, and in fact did influence, an investigation by the FBI into potential threats to national security. The reason I bring this up, Barbara, is because this is not some legal mumbo-jumbo on the side technical argument. This was actually central and important to the Mueller investigation and what Flynn was saying to the Russian ambassador.
Yeah, this really goes to the very heart of Russian interference in the election itself. I think to argue now, as the Justice Department does, that these lies were somehow immaterial to the Justice Department's investigation, really, as Judge Gleeson says, strains the credulity of the credulous. It's just so preposterous. As you said, it goes to the very heart of it. The government of the United States sanctioned Russia as punishment for interfering with our election. And the same day, Michael Flynn is on the phone with the ambassador to Russia saying, don't worry about it. Please don't escalate. We'll work through this later. By doing so, he minimized the effect of those sanctions. He was undermining the foreign policy of the United States. This country has one president at a time, and by acting contrary to the wishes of the Obama administration, Michael Flynn was undermining the foreign policy of the United States. That's why he lied about it. And it wasn't just Michael Flynn who was doing this on his own, freelancing. He was doing this in close concert with members of the Trump transition team. And his deputy said to Robert Mueller that Trump himself might have been briefed about these calls.